The super stocks are the homegrown hot rods of the MRA. A big cubic inch naturally aspirated double elimination factory force for the truck lover. Up next, we fling a few feet of Keystone clods in the super stock class. The peaceful and serene countryside of the far western end of the Keystone State, right up on the Buckeye border, as we continue our coverage from the 143rd Annual Transfer Harvest Home Fair. Welcome to Transfer, Pennsylvania. On a beautiful afternoon here in the Shenango River Valley as we continue our coverage of the 2021 MRA Championship Series here. Transfer 150 feet of tilled loam, and today it's the factory hot rods of the MRA, the super stock class. This machine's weighing in a little earlier. There you see Mike Zajacek's beautiful Ford Ranger out of the Empire State. We'll tell you about him as we go on. And this is a class where you can run either cut boggers or DOT boggers as you'd run them on the street. Of course, if you don't know what a cut tire is, as the name implies, you take that stock tread, you cut the rubber paper thin, and that leaves a nice meaty hook on that tire to dig into the loam. First up, out of Red House, West Virginia, that is David French in a 71 Ford F100 with a 600 cubic inch big block Ford VZ racing engine with a power glide transmission, unsociable attitude. He goes side by side with a 620 cubic inch big block Chevrolet. Sneaking in, Tony Evans in the bluegrass bow tie. Full four-corner leaf spring package under that home-built chassis. Definitely has something to prove against these guys out here running the Blue Oval fraternity there in the right-hand lane. And we will see French, kind of the odds-on favorite in this pairing, but Tony Evans definitely has something for him. We will see, though. The first pair of round number one of a double elimination bracket. David French to the finish line first, the Ford getting the victory. You can see Evans with a 2.784, actually with the faster of those two runs, but French hole-shotted him just a little bit on the starting line. Keep in mind, though, this is a double elimination class, so Evans will be back, but he will have to win in the next round to stay in the bracket. You have to lose twice to get knocked out. David French, at the moment, is free and clear. He'll at least have another 2 rounds on this machine. If all goes as planned, he'll be in the final round with that beautiful 71 Ford F100 gleaming in the sunshine. Here in Transfer, Pennsylvania, this class is always a fan favorite, as it is the only heads-up class here with the pro racers. Now, Mike Zajacek, the Z and VZ race engines out of Argyle, New York, in the Empire Rider Maroon Ranger. He's going to go side-by-side with that beautiful AMC machine, Project Scrambler. Buckeye Jeep Lou Mariano out of Windsor, Ohio. Only guy in the class of 6 right now running stock boggers in the rear, does not run the cut tires, and that could be to his disadvantage on this track. We'll see what kind of starting line pack he made for himself there. Indeed, it's going to be all Mike Zajacek out of New York, a 2.680. He's actually closing in on the 150-foot national record, which we've seen broken here before in many classes. We'll see if it'll happen here again today in the super stock class. But Mike definitely making some strong horsepower. Part of the Vance Zajacek Racing Engines group. Those engines being fielded out of the state of West Virginia. Mike out of Argyle, New York, looking real strong here in Transfer Pennsylvania. Nice straight run as he blisters the track. We'll see if the track gets faster or if it goes away. In all of our other classes, it's been going away, but right now you can see it's kind of dry. Now as Jason Hoskins rolls out, he'll be getting a single. He was supposed to go side-by-side with Kelly Albertson, but 643 cubic inch big block Chevy gets a single. Little bobble just off the starting line. Doesn't hurt him too much. It won't matter, though, because, again, he will take a victory in round number 1 and move on. So, as I said before, he'll have at least 2 more runs in the class, if not more. We'll see, though. There you see Kelly Albertson should be back. If he can make the starting line, he'll take on Tony Evans. One of those two will not be coming back in round number 3. It'll be Mike Zajac rematching with Lou Mariano, the Ranger, and the Scrambler, and then David French. That beautiful 71 F100 taking on that step-side Chevy. We just saw Jason Hoskins out of the state of Indiana. The MRA here in Transfer, Pennsylvania. We are not even close to done. Round 2 coming your way when we come back to the Transfer Harvest Home Fair.
This Back Channel Productions program is brought to you in part by Monsters Monthly. For up-to-date show, ticket info, and a wide selection of photo and video galleries, visit monstersmonthly.com. And by RPM Army, featuring action-packed content from around the web. Visit rpmarmy.com, your source for motorsports on the go.
Hey, welcome to Wildman Adventures. We're at the Silver Lake Sand Dragway. There really wasn't any off-roading back then. It was all off-road. We're on our way to Lima, Ohio. Got wooden wheels.
Oh, it's slippery as all get out of.
Hey, we're here with Rich Cummins. Hey, we're here with Mike Potter. Hey, we're here with Alan Pizzo. Gotta check it out. This week we're going to go down memory lane.
This Back Channel Productions program is brought to you in part by Crush This. For an inside look at the world of monster trucks, check out Crush This, available on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube.
Welcome back to the 143rd Annual Transfer Harvest Home Fair in Transfer, Pennsylvania. As you look down 150 feet of MRA Dirt Drags track, good crowd on hand, bathed in sunshine, beautiful weather here in the Shenango River Valley is some of the best in the Super Stock class. Get ready for round number 2. There you see Tony Evans getting ready to head that way. And speaking of Tony Evans, we take a look at the pairings. He should be facing off with Kelly Albertson, who did not make a run in round number 1. Hopefully, we'll be able to make it to the line. In fact, I do believe he's firing up right now, and he is headed that way. It'll be Mike Zajac rematching Lou Mariano, and then the 2 best-looking machines in the class here today, David French in that 71 Ford F100 taking on Jason Hoskins in that beautiful Chevy step-side. As we get ready now for our first pairing of round number 2, there you indeed see a blue Chevrolet in the left-hand lane to the right of your screen. That is none other than Kelly Albertson out of the state of Indiana. Saw him do very well yesterday in the Outlaw Pro Stock class. That was with nitrous, that big block Chevy now running its stock setup. Down the track, he's going to go side-by-side with this full 4-corner leaf build. That is Tony Evans, 620 cubic inch big block Chevrolet under the hood. Again, Tony with a lot to prove out here with this bluegrass bow tie with the white body taking on the blue bow tie out of the Hoosier State. That's Kelly Albertson in the left-hand lane. Albertson lifting the front end a little bit still with the hole shot and 2.606. He betters the national record, which was a 2.659. So he does break the record. Now he will have to come back in the next round and try to back that run up. He's got to run within 500ths of a second of that 2.606 that he just ran. So we will see if he can do so. You see Tony Evans probably not real happy with his performance here today, but nothing to be ashamed of. He did a great job, but I know he wanted to put more than 2 passes on this track right now as Mike Zajac gets ready to take on Lou Mariano for the second time today here in transfer. They wait on green. And it looks like the hole shot will go to Mariano, but Zajac drives around him at a 2.684. Mariano with those stock uncut boggers in the rear, not getting the horsepower to the ground. I think Zajac may just be out horsepowering him today. The scrambler looking good, but he's going to be out of competition. Zajac putting the Jeep on the trailer. A beautiful run for the red Ford Ranger out of the Empire State, kicking up the dust on a rather dry 150-foot track here this afternoon. Have to wait and see if as the sun goes down, they rewater this track and till it a couple more times so they're able to get any more horsepower into it. But Zajac laying down a good one at a 2.684 in that round, so still keeping it in that range to maybe close in on that record right now. Kelly Albertson's going to need to back that up as our final pairing in round number 2. David French in the F100, the blue F100, takes on the Chevy Stepside out of Indiana. That is Jason Hoskins out of Rising Sun, Indiana. Chevy and Ford, pick your favorite. Hoskins bouncing on a close run, 2.742 to a 2.717 advantage. Hoskins, who got the hole shot on David French, so the Chevy will go to round 3 as the victor. David French will now have to win in round number 3 to stay in the bracket. Hoskins looking good as we'll get another look at the run. Watch him bounce coming out of the hole. It looked like he got a good bite off the starting line, but then got into some loose soil. I don't know if the truck moved around a bit left or right. Maybe he got in between his own tracks, but still able to keep it ahead of David French by just a little bit. That was a close race. Hoskins moving on as a victor into the next round as they drag the track one more time here before round 3. Gonna go and till that pack back up in the staging area, and what you'll see these guys do when they roll in is they'll drive back and forth around the starting line, and what they're trying to do is actually pack down that staging area, pack down that takeoff area so that the tires actually have something to bite on, not just loose soil that's going to blow away behind them and cause them to blow the tires off. But right now, Kelly Albertson headed back into the staging area. And speaking of Kelly Albertson, there you see he is in a must-win situation now with David French, as one of those two will not be coming back in round number 4. Albertson, of course, got his first round loss by failing to make the starting line. David French getting knocked out by Jason Hoskins, or excuse me, getting his first loss to Jason Hoskins, who will be coming back to take on Mike Zajac, who won twice over Lou Mariano. We're now back on the starting line. There you see David French. A beautiful 71 Ford F100 with the 600 cubic inch VZ power plant taking on the big block Chevy power plant of Kelly Albertson, who's looking to back up the national record he just broke. Remember, record he broke was a 2.659. He broke it with a 2.606. But priority 1 is getting to the finish line first. Priority number 2 would be picking up that national record. We'll see, though. This is a record-setting track. Albertson and French in round 3. It's going to be Albertson, and he will indeed back up the time. In fact, he betters the time. A 2.586 second run for Albertson. Not a bad run for French, but Kelly Albertson will dispatch the Ford here in round number 3 and back up the record. He now holds that national record. We'll see if he can walk out of here today. Keep in mind, this class is not done. and there are still two guys who could definitely beat that record here in the class. There you see Albertson coming through the finish line first.
On the outside lane, going up against
About a truck length ahead of David French, who picks up the right rear tire when he gets on the brakes there in the shutdown area.
And as we look at the Maroon Ranger.
As our final pairing here, both these guys will be back in the next round, but this will determine which one of them will have to win in the next round. It'll either be that guy right there, Mike Zajac out of Argyle, New York, with the 600 cubic inch VZ racing engine under the hood, or the big block Chevy there. 632 cubic inches of bow tie muscle under the hood of Jason Hoskins, your nightmare out of the state of Indiana. Good run, and look at that, Zajac. 2:6:11, which, by the way, if he beats Albertson's current time, could hand Mike Zajac the national record. Mike going to go into the next round as the winner, so he is in good standing as we look at the run again. Look at him take off right there. Zajac, clear-cut victor when Hoskins red-lighted. So Hoskins will have to win in the next round to get to the finals. Don't go anywhere. Round number 4 is coming at you when we come back. Back in Transfer, Pennsylvania on a record-breaking afternoon with the MRA Superstocks getting ready for round number 4. Kelly Albertson, who is right now holding the new national record, will have a bye in this round, a single. He dispatched David French in round number 3, and then Mike Zajac, the only man who does not have to win this round to get into the next, will take on Jason Hoskins, who is in a must-win situation. Fortunately for Kelly Albertson, that single will guarantee him a spot in the next round, so he will match up against the winner of our only pairing in this current round as the tractor finishes up a last-minute till. Now, they have re-watered the track, so it should not be as dusty. In fact, the starting line is packing a little bit better right now. They may be able to put more horsepower into it, so we'll have to wait and see who comes out on top with that national record, because Zajac thinks he could better Albertson. Again, though, priority 1 is going to be getting to that finish line first, because you can't back up that record if you get knocked out of competition. There you see your nightmare, Jason Hoskins, the beautiful white bow tie out of the Hoosier State. 632 cubic inches of Chevy muscle against 600 cubic inches of blue oval horsepower. Zajac blasting the track, and he does it, a 2.565. Betters the 2.586 of Albertson. So the record has changed hands here in Transfer, Pennsylvania. Can he hang on to it? What an afternoon of racing. There you see Kelly Albertson getting ready to go to the line to try to keep that record in his hands. Remember, the fight's not over. Will be Zajac taking on Albertson in the finals. Albertson still has one more run to try to get that record back. Look at this, Mike Zajac. Perfect run. From timing light to timing light, 5.565. is the new record. Now, Kelly Albertson. See if he goes after the record here. He only has a single. He's just trying to get into the next round, and he's staged. We'll see. No, he's just going to idle it through there. Pretty wise decision. Doesn't risk breaking it. Doesn't risk crashing the truck. He'll make it into the final round of 4.3 and change, and those numbers don't matter. He's there in the championship race. Now, this is interesting because Albertson, if he wins this next race, will actually have to come back to the line and race Zajac again because Zajac has not lost. If Zajac wins, he'll automatically be the champion and he'll keep the record. And we'll wait and see if the record changes hands here on our final pass, or what may be our final couple passes of the weekend. That remains to be seen. But an awesome bracket we've had as Albertson missed round number 1 and worked his way back through by knocking out Tony Evans and David French. Then had the single in the last round, and then Mike Zajac twice dispatching Lou Mariano and then Jason Hoskins. And he's had a really solid evening and afternoon of racing here with that big 600 cubic inch Ford big block in the front of that thing, as he now goes side by side with the Chevy big block horsepower. A Ford and Chevy final round. This is a truck lover's dream final round right now, as the Colorado and the Ranger match horsepower here in the staging area. We will see who's going to be first to the finish line and who's going to go home with a national record from here in Transfer, Pennsylvania. Likely that national record will stay with the Ford, but they are going to have to settle this in the dirt. The MRA 2021 Superstock Championship on the line, and you see the officials running out right now. Is apparently a problem with the timing lights. They moved some clods out of the way there that were blocking the lights. Now there you see Travis Shoemaker actually looks like maybe recalibrating something. There's Greg Monsmith, and waiting to see if we actually have a problem with the lights. Good to go. Better to have those timing lights than not. You can always eyeball the finish line, but if it's real close, that electronic timing is invaluable. Here we go, Ford and Chevy on the starting line for the final. Zajac and Albertson. Albertson picking the front end up, and it looks like he spun the rear tires, and Zajac with a 2.616. Definitely going to hang on to the record, although Albertson at a 2.621 is nothing to be ashamed of. He's the one that reset the record initially this afternoon. He made Zajac work for it. This was not an easy round to win. But Albertson, unfortunately, looks like he fell victim to a wheel stand there. Watching, he picks up the front end, and the rear tires dig in, but it looks like he spun them. Coming off the line, Mike Zajac putting the Ford horsepower to work, taking the victory as he's first through the finish line banners and first through the timing lights. Mike Zajac out of Argyle, New York, will also go home with a new national record, 2.565. What an afternoon and evening of racing we have had. We're not done from here in Transfer. More action coming up with more classes from the MRA here at the Transfer Harvest Home Fair. We will see you then.